Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for Ryan. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, movie review, re-review, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. So, thank you. So this time, Ryan wanted me to look back on Uncut Gems, which is a film I have seen before. Had not seen it since it came out. It's directed by the same people that did Good Time, and there were two brothers. Good Time being a film with Robert Pattinson, which I didn't mind. Although I would say I liked this film more. I know the two of them kind of split apart, and now they do their own movies. One of them is doing the film with The Rock called The Smashing Machine, about the MMA fighter, the biography, which biography is always BS, but anyway. I always enjoyed this film. Watch it again, it still holds up. It is an A24 film, and lo and behold, it's an A24 film. Yes, I know, they just release the stuff. They don't technically make it, but usually the stuff that they release I'm not a fan of. But it's more so their horror stuff I'm not big on. When they go in other genres they release, for example, The Disaster Artist, I remember liking Everything Everywhere All at Once. I remember liking this one. What this film accomplishes, it's such a frenzied state, the entire film, that really does reflect on the main character's gambling addiction, wanting to find another way to twist and turn and get the store, and even though he should know better, even though he should learn, even though he should slow down, it's like he can't. Hence the addiction part. And sadly leads to not the greatest things. But Uncut Gems, like I said, still held up. Watch it again. Before I go into it, the plot of the film, Adam Sandler is this guy. It takes place in New York in 2012. And Adam Sandler runs his jewelry store that's doing fairly well. He gets big customers. One of them happens to be Kevin Garnett, the basketball player. And he becomes a bit of an important part of the movie. And he does fine. For a guy who's not an actor, Kevin Garnett actually did fine. I thought he did better than LeBron James does, and Space Jam 2 and other crap he's been in. So yeah, Kevin Garnett, yeah, he's playing himself, but it wasn't too bad. Anyway, Adam Sandler, he has stuff going on in his life. He has a wife, but him and the wife are not at the greatest in their relationship, and pretty much the wife is going to want to divorce him. He also has a mistress, younger lady, who's got a bit of an attitude onto her as well, and sometimes there's some love, sometimes there's some friction with that. He owes money to his brother-in-law, played by Eric Bogosian, which had been a while since I had seen Eric Bogosian, because I remember him from Under Siege 2 as one of the villains, Dark Territory. He was also in Talk Radio. But he kind of disappeared, like you just stopped seeing him and stuff. He might have been doing stuff, but I'm not familiar with it. But it was cool to see Eric Bogosian. I forget how much money he owes. It might like $100,000, somewhere around that range. And each time he gets a little bit of money, instead of paying the guy, he goes for the next bet. More so with basketball, and he just cannot help himself. In the midst of all this is this new opal that he got from another country. And it's an opal that really nice looking gem, hence the title. And I think he says, what was the line he said? If you look into it, you can see the whole universe and its opals. He thinks when it goes up, it's going to get like $1 million. But then when he does, it only gets like $150,000, give or take. Now, granted, if he went up for that and it did get that, I think he would pay his debts off because again, I could be wrong, but I think it is 100,000, so he would have been fine. But no, he wants the million. He wants more, more, and more. And this really does give you the uneasiness of this cutthroat business ideas of jewelry, but more so because this guy has this addiction, and sadly leads to his downfall. You know, his thrill, the greed, never being fulfilled. He's always on the move. And even though this film is 2 hours long, it doesn't feel it because of that pacing. Because of the direction of the movie, the certain camera work, like when it's going into the opal and you see all the stuff inside, and then you see a shift, and then all of a sudden we're inside a person's body. I thought that was a really nice way they edited that together. And you really get a feel of the frenzy and the stress and wanting to find the other deal. And the music, I thought the music fits the film, the synthesizer music, it really fits with that character's mindset of being manic. And Adam Sandler, I've said this before, it may not be my favorite Adam Sandler film. That's going to be more to his older comedies that I grew up with. I'm very nostalgic for Happy Gilmore, among other films. But it's safe to say this is his best performance. And while at times you get frustrated with this guy, you get angry with this guy, like, what are you doing? You're doing this dumb thing, but sometimes that's how it is with addicts. They're not thinking sensibly. I mean, you could argue if they're thinking sensibly, they wouldn't be an addict to begin with. But I guess that's up to people out there who are gambling addicts, and if you ever were, or maybe still going through it, you can feel free to put your 2 cents in as to how that mindset is. And again, the way it's filmed, the way it sounds, again, and Adam Sandler shows a whole range of emotions where he's trying to use his wit to deal with customers. He gets frustrated. He gets kind of this mindset of everything's going to be okay. Just trust me, everything's going to be okay. I can do this, I can do this. And he talks too much, and that kind of also leads to his downfall. A self-destructive series of bad ideas is kind of what this guy is made up on. So at times you get aggravated with him, but I will say, at least he's, in my opinion, he remains interesting for me to wonder what he's going to do next. And it shows that Adam Sandler, and sorry about, damn sinuses, so if you're wondering why my jaws does weird things at times in videos, that's why. Damn Texas weather. Anyway, as I was saying, this is why nowadays, if Adam Sandler does a film, I am more curious if it's dramatic. If it's comedy, for example, he's doing Happy Gilmore 2, I have zero interest. I think it's going to be bad, because I cannot remember. Maybe the last comedy of his I did not mind was that film The Do-Over with David Spade, and I'm not going to call that a great movie. It's a movie I didn't mind for what it was. But I can't remember the last comedy I thought was really good or really great. I really can't. It's been a while. I have a soft spot for You Don't Mess with a Zohan. I know, doesn't seem like the type of movie I would like, but something about that film I laughed at, how goofy, silly, try to be like a parody of action films. Not everyone's cup of tea, but I liked it for what it was. Anger Management was before that. He did films before, but that was probably the other last film he did of comedy that I quite liked. But his dramatic work is what keeps me intrigued. I thought he did a good job in the basketball one called Hustle. I think it's called Hustle, where he's looking for these players, one in particular. He did one called Spaceman. I liked it. It has its flaws, but I liked it for what it was. And I remember years ago he was up for the role in Collateral, the Jamie Foxx role. And it would have been Adam Sandler and Tom Cruise. And people scoff at that and people laugh at that. But honestly, when you look at something like this and what he's capable of, I think he could have pulled it off. With a director like Michael Mann and wanting to prove himself. But whether he got scared, whether he got cold feet, I don't know. Jamie Foxx did a great job in that movie, but I will admit it would have been very interesting to see. And honestly, I think it really would have opened up doors for Adam Sandler if he took that chance at Collateral. Because Collateral was decently successful. I think. I could be wrong on that. But I know it's a great movie. A lot of people, not just me, quite liked that film. And anyway. So again, him doing dramatic work, I think should be his direction nowadays. But this is was going to give the payday. Granted, he probably doesn't need money anymore. I mean, think about all the films he's done, and whether they were good or not, a lot of them were successful. That Netflix deal, he got a shitload of money. I'm sure that Netflix deal he got to make all those films, all of us could live 3 lifetimes over with that amount of money. So it's not like he needs the money. I would assume not. It doesn't seem like he does stuff except go out. Seems like a nice guy, goes out, play basketball and stuff, but I guess for some reason he really thought we needed a Happy Gilmore 2. What's next? Fucking Billy Madison 2? The Wedding Singer 2? The Waterboy 2? Anyway. But yeah, this really shows his range, what he can do. I thought that when I saw Punch Drunk Love, which I liked. This even more so. And it's a shame, just despite him giving it his all, he was not nominated for an Oscar. And I was surprised because I went in going, okay, I know he didn't win. I was surprised he wasn't even nominated. And, now that I think about it, I kind of want to look up who was even nominated. Now, that's the thing with the Oscars. I try to, like, the film came out in 2019, but it would not be the 2019 Oscars, would it? Or would it be the... Sorry, I know, I'm going off track. It'd be, okay, so it'd be the 2020, because it's always like a year ahead. I'm curious as to who was nominated, because Joaquin Phoenix won. Now, Joaquin Phoenix, I thought, did a good job. I would have given it to him, sure, because I think his performance. But Antonio Banderas, Pain and Glory, Leonardo DiCaprio, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Adam Driver, Marriage Story, Jonathan Pryce, The Two Popes. Now, I probably have said this before, but looking at that list, Leonardo DiCaprio did a good job in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. But that feels like we just gave him the nomination because he's Leo DiCaprio. Because he did a great job in that movie, don't get me wrong. But I mean, compared, I would say like The Wolf of Wall Street or The Revenant or other performances were more so. I think he won for at least one of those that I mentioned. Adam Sandler, I think, gave a better performance. Again, Leo did a great job. I have nothing against him. But this one, I don't see how you look at the two and go, oh, well, this isn't the more surprising, the more standout performance. Especially coming from a guy like Adam Sandler that people don't expect that from. People kind of look down upon. Granted, for his comedies of late, they should, because Jack and Jill went up the hill and fucked each other in the ass. That's been the movie. That's my boy. Shoot him, because that movie sucks. I Now Protest You, Chuck You, Larry did a divorce. Total Recall style. Bullet in the head to that movie. Because the movie sucks as well, in my opinion. And like the Wicca with him and Rock, all this other, a lot of other crap. Ridiculous Six. Yeah, add two sixes because you go to hell. You watch movies like Ridiculous Six over and over again. I remember he joked like if he didn't get nominated or won, he would make like the crappiest movie. And I swear it was around this time he did like Hubie Halloween. So I don't think he was joking because that is one of his worst fucking films. Hubie Halloween is one of his worst, easily one of his worst films in my opinion. But yeah, it dumbfounds me that he wasn't even nominated. Because he did such a good job. There's the bits of a character was trying to do a bit of humor, like he's trying to look at the customers, Kevin Garnett trying to impress him. So has this chain with this Furby, and says, "Oh, look what to do," and it moves his eyes, and it gets people all in a tizzy. The part of the story where Kevin Garnett wants to borrow the opal, and Adam's like, no, you can't, I gotta put an option. Just let me borrow it for a day. And he does, and Kevin Garnett does well at his game, and then he can't get the thing back. So he's not taught to his buddy, and the friction, and the frenzy, and the animosity that grows of, well, how come, he's not talking to me? How come he's not giving my opal back? That's some old school Middle Earth shit. Sorry I had that awkward pause because there's a part of me that does feel sorry for the character because of it's there is a pity quality to the character where it seems like at times he does try to mean well, and I think Adam can offer that charm. I mean, there's a reason why he was so successful in comedy for a lot of years, why he had a consistent amount of movies making money. The Waterboy, The Wedding Singer, the Big Daddy, Longest Yard, etc. Because he had that bit of charm that people could gravitate towards. Whether you feel he has that now or no, that's up to you. I did comedy, I don't think so. I think comedy just seems so tired. That's the thing. When you look at comedies that he does, he just seems so tired. So just shell of his former self when he's trying to do. Even if you watch the teaser, Happy Gilmore 2, it's just. And then you see this, you just see how energetic he is and how full life he is. As if he gives a shit. What was the thing that maybe he does some of these movies just to have a vacation? I think he said that. Now, granted, you could say he was joking. But I think there's a tinge of truth where just go with it. The film he did with Jennifer Aniston. Other films. That one he did with Drew Barrymore where they went to Hawaii. Was it Blended or something? I forgot. It was so awful. He's like, oh yeah, I do these movies just to get a nice vacation. I get to go to this spot, get to go to this spot. I mean, maybe. Because he gets with his buddies, and they get cameos or small roles, and then they just have fun, and it follows usually a formula. And then their whole film did some box office. But the formula stopped working. Pixels... I would say Pixels for me was his most disappointing film. Because Pixels, I remember the short film, it was a cool idea. Well, the short film was just what if video games destroy the world, and because of the short film, they do destroy the world. But okay, video game characters invading society. Yes, could be like a cool take on Ghostbusters, instead of ghosts as video game characters. Is it the most original? No, but it could be a nice twist. Could be a fun, entertaining twist. And then they made such a boring, lazy fucking movie where Adam Sandler's corpse starred in it. Kevin James, for some reason, is the president of the United States, and Hubert became a girl and had sex with Josh Gad, and then had a bunch of Tuber Babies with Josh Gad? What the fuck? Or Tuber pissing himself? Anyway, I know I'm going off tangent with the fucking film. It's how it goes sometimes. But this one just... This guy just trying to reach the next level and put in bets, but then they get stopped by Eric Bogosian and his goons. Things may work well with this auction, but he keeps pushing it. He gets a family member, Judd Hirsch, who I liked. Great character actor. He was on the TV show Taxi. He was Jeff Goldblum's dad in Independence Day. That's my favorite role of his, of Judd Hirsch. He was great in the Robert Redford film Ordinary People, I believe it's called. He's great in that. Kind of playing a role you would see Robert Williams play in Good Will Hunting. Kind of that type of role. Ordinary People, good drama, good dramatic movie. And again, if they just let it go, you get the money and be fine, but he wants to get more. And again, you get close to the sun, you get close to the heat, what's going to happen? You're going to get burnt. That's how what happens to character. He gets burnt. And like I say, Adam Sandler's performance is definitely the key to this. There's a scene when, getting to near the third act, the auction didn't go well. There's a way to maybe get some money. So he rises up Kevin Garnett, Kevin's spirit, about this gem, about this opal, about what it means and how important it is. And I'm not an athlete, okay? But this is how I fucking win. And the way he does that speech, you can see why Kevin Garnett kind of gets riled up and, okay, fine, I'm gonna buy it. It shows that, in that moment, Adam's character is a good seller. Good bullshit artist at that point. And spoilers. Even though things luck out where he takes the money that he gets from Kevin Garnett, gives it to his mistress, she puts the bet in on the game, lots Eric Bogosian and the other two thugs, they watch the game, they win. I think they win is like $1 million. He finally made it. He finally succeeded. Things gonna be hunky-dory. And then boom, the thug doesn't give a shit, he just shoots him in the head. Now granted, the thug is a fucking moron and a fucking idiot, because if he understood the situation, okay, Adam got $1 million. If that's the case, pays Eric back, maybe could have gotten extra, and you'd have a bit more money in your pocket. Instead, the guy kills him. Eric is pissed about this and scared about this. Then he kills Eric Bogosian. Then they steal the jewels. Then they run. So now you're going to be on the run. People are going to try to figure out, okay, who's with Eric Bogosian? Who have they seen him with? And God forbid there's any cameras or any... Well, there probably wouldn't be cameras, but any other ways of CSI investigation. You don't get found out. Who knows what those jewels, how much you could get for them, the watches and stuff. And then you have to be able to sell them. You have to be able to get somewhere safe so you don't get found out. But anyway, it's a thug that's just had enough of Adam Sandler's BS and just shot in the face. I think that's definitely a shock moment for the audience. Because they think, okay, maybe this will be redemption. Maybe finally, because he won, finally he'll kick this habit. Finally, he could pay back his debts and go to the promised land. Although there's a part of you that thinks, well, even if this came about, let's say he wasn't shot, he pays back the money, who's to say that he would not want more? And with the way the decisions he's made throughout it, it seems like sooner or later this is what was going to happen. So that inevitable part of his character kind of makes it a little bit of a tragedy. But yeah, I guess it's like some people may not even like Adam Sandler's character at all and go, "Good, fuck him. He gets what he deserves." But I think with Adam Sandler, there's enough there of that charm to, at least for me, feel a little bit sorry for him. Maybe it would have been nice if there were a bit more quiet moments of him pontificating what he's doing, having doubts of what he's doing, moments where he tracks and kind of wishes that he could help to stop this addiction. Please help me because I'm my own worst enemy. Maybe if you had a few more moments of that, you could create even more of a palpable tragedy to it. But as is, if you were to tell me just by words, "Hey, this is a film about Adam Sandler at the jewelry business," I'd be like, well, that sounds boring. But no, with the way it's filmed and how kinetic it is and how fast-paced it is and just this level of stress that seems to be consistent throughout the film, it's definitely a worthwhile journey. Not a film I'll rewatch a lot. It's not really a happy ending. But still a good film. Again, some people since people always keep bringing it up, they say, "Well, you don't like anything. I like this film. I think this is a good film for the reasons I said and more so." But yeah, I believe this is the last film the two brothers did. The Safdie, I'm not sure, Safdie brothers. But hey, I guess they want to do their own thing. Now the Smash Machine with one of the brothers. Apparently a lot of critics are tearing that apart, saying it's awful. Which is a shame because I've said The Rock should do something different. This is finally him doing something different. I did not mind the trailer to it, but trailers can be very deceiving. We all know this. This one, still a solid film. Kevin Garnett did a better than you think job. Eric Bogosian, nice to see him again in a movie. Judd Hirsch, good as always. The ladies that played his wife and played his mistress, they did fine. I didn't really see anybody give a bad performance. And yeah, other than that, worth the look, worth the watch. So, I think The Weeknd, that rapper's in this too, which I didn't know who the hell he was in 2019. Just there's a bit where he's at a club and he thinks his mistress is fucking this guy, but they're just like doing drugs and stuff, and so he doesn't trust her, and they have a bit of a friction there. I believe it is The Weeknd, which apparently he had a new film come out and it completely bombs or good, because I don't like his music and don't give a shit about him. But anyway, with that said, thanks for watching, take care, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye for now.